Welcome to another episode of Behind the Business presented by Gore Mutual. I'm your host, Ian McLean, President and CEO of the Greater Kitchener-Waterloo Chamber of Commerce. This podcast is recorded on the traditional territory of the Neutral, Anishinaabe, and Haudenosaunee peoples. Each week I sit down for candid conversations where we go beyond the boardroom and behind the business to uncover the real stories of Waterloo Region's business community. Today, we're joined by not one, but two guests. Shawna is the founder of Subtly You. With husband Greg, they have created a leading medical aesthetics business. Together, they've grown a business that combines clinical expertise, marketing creativity, and community engagement. We'll discuss their approach to leadership, balancing personal and professional roles, smart marketing strategies, and how they built a business that thrives while staying personal and authentic. So join me as we go behind the business with Shawna and Greg of Subtly You. Well, we're excited to have you both here today. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
What I always, with many of these conversations is when you talk to entrepreneurs and founders of companies, is time is probably your most valuable commodity. We appreciate people taking time, coming to the studio here to tell your stories. So really appreciate and learning about your journey and your story. So let's start at the beginning. Tell us a little bit about Subtly You and what you offer, and then we'll get into the how you came together. But tell us about the business.
Subtly You came to be back in 2019. It's been six and a half years now. And I mean, we are in the business of helping people look and feel their very best. That's what it comes down to. And back when I started this, I mean, we are in the beauty industry, to label it as such. And back in the day, I mean, I went to school after high school for medical aesthetics. Love helping people. I always knew as a people person, couldn't sit at a desk all day. That's just not up my alley by any means. Can't sit still. And got into this. I mean, there's a long journey from then to where we are now, going to school, becoming a nurse, doing that whole thing, and then starting the business from the ground up. But we're here, honestly, to serve people, help them feel great, help them feel and look their best. And you know what? It's not really work. We get to socialize with people. We get to chit chat.
Now, so you're the founder. You came up with the idea. You founded the business.
Yeah.
Greg, you're the chief cook and bottle washer, CEO. You're running the operations. But tell me how you came together. You started it and expanding it. So because it's always fascinating to hear how people start a business and start to grow it and scale it up. So maybe start with that and Greg, how you're growing the business.
Yeah, honestly, I started this business not knowing really what the heck I was doing. I wasn't running it as a business. I started as a nurse. I was working in a hospital at the time, bedside nursing. Loved it, fantastic. But I knew that this was always my goal in the end. To be a cosmetic nurse injector. Saved up some money, took the courses, did all that on the side. But when I tell you that I figured it out as I went, I really, truly figured it out as I went. And Greg, we got together at the same time as I started this business. And he'll give you his story with, he has a background in business himself, but he was hands off. He let me run the ship, and there was mistakes being made, and there was fumbling along the way. And I think back when I first started treating clients, it was truly just a snowball effect. I think my passion and my love for helping people and doing what I do just radiated, and I got busy, and I was seeing clients, and it got to the point where I was grateful enough. Actually, Greg was like, Shawna, what are you doing still working in the hospital? Nothing wrong with working in a hospital. He just knew where my passion lied.
Yeah, and when you start a business, always the founder has got the passion for the business. But Greg, there's the operations side. Like you in order to scale it so that it becomes something where it's not a side to the desk or that you make it a viable business, it takes the person doing the ops side of it and doing with the really glamorous stuff like doing your remittances and doing the hiring and marketing. Like there's a whole bunch of things that require. Talk about how when you came in and how it took that part away so that you could focus on the exciting part or the passion part of business.
Yeah. First of all, I just feel like sometimes, not always, founders aren't good enough at telling their own story because they're a little bit too humble about it. Shawna is truly, she worked at a nursing mental health and addictions unit, and she would be racing home after a 7-3 shift to meet her first client at the front door for 4 p.m. Right? So she had one of those like from one job to the next, and then injecting from 4 p.m. till 9 p.m. at night. In a bedroom in our upstairs that our landlord said we weren't allowed to convert into a treatment room. And I said, too bad, man. Like, you're not going to stop her dreams. So we converted anyways. And, that was really how she got the start. Was from a lot of hard work and, kind of rushing around. But I got to watch, because in 2019, turned into 2020 pretty quickly and COVID hit.
Yeah.
So with my previous company, I went straight to working from home, and because people had to run through or walk through the house to get to the upstairs, I met almost every client, right? And I got to have that experience where they truly were coming into our lives, and the smiles that they would have leaving were pretty impressive because they truly enjoyed the service that Shawna was giving. And I got to watch this for 3 years because with COVID, we were home from my other business for quite some time. We ended up being able to work without an office for a while. And then we got to a point where we needed to move to a new space, a new house. I was fortunate enough in my previous business that we were able to have an exit, and we were able to afford our first home. So we bought a house, and just so happens the house we purchased had a massage therapy clinic in it before us, and its own entrance and all that kind of stuff for the business. So it worked out really well. But we went from having 1 treatment room to 3 treatment rooms. And we're like, wow, what are we going to do with the other 2 treatment rooms? Shawna had gotten to a point where she was so busy, booked up 3 months in advance, which is an amazing thing to have, but also not an amazing customer experience when somebody wants to see you, of course.
Yeah.
So we were kind of inevitably not forced, but we wanted to start growing the business, and we owed it to the clientele to give them a better service. So we wanted to hire an esthetician first, which is someone that does a little bit of offsetting services versus what the injecting is that Shawna has an expertise in. And then from the esthetician, it grew into a second injector, then a third injector. And before you know it, we got a full house.
Yeah. So let's go back to you're the lead medical cosmetic injector.
Yes.
So I think it's the first time I've actually seen those words all put together.
Did I create that?
No, myself? I don't know. I think you might have created a new thing that might even be in the dictionary now. But I didn't know what it was. But and so I guess the question leads in. You talk about that role, but is this all? You said off the top. This is kind of what your passion was. Did you know you always wanted to kind of be in that beauty aesthetics and was nursing because can I do this for a living? How did you? Was this always kind of where your passion was?
Listen, when I was in high school and you're choosing where to go for college, I had no idea, and I remember sitting down and. I actually didn't put too much thought into it. I always knew that I liked to put my makeup on in the morning, do my hair, yada, yada. So why not go to medical esthetician school? When I was in school, I realized this isn't what I want to do forever. And it was my prof at the time who mentioned getting into Botox and filler. I'm 18 years old at the time. I don't know what Botox and filler is. Nor should really anybody at 18 years old, right? But
you gotta have the scars like this old.
Yeah. So I got into that, and you have to be a nurse in order to do what we do. And I will tell you one thing: never once did I think I'd become a nurse. Now, truly, it's the best thing that happened to me. Made me a better person, gave me so much more life experience, and from there, it's a no-brainer. There's nothing else I could do in life. There's nothing else that I could think about that I would do as a job, as a career. It's this. I live it, breathe it, think about it nonstop, love it. There's nothing else in the world that I would do.
Now, that's a good jumping off point for you, Greg, because that's the passion of the vision of why you're in business. But your career journey is a lot different than Shawna's. You came from a different part of business, or more of the business side, if you will. How have you put that together? I mean, because you need the passion, you need the why you're doing it in the first place. And you talked a little bit about getting to know the customers during COVID. But how did your kind of skill set and your career journey help kind of pull this together to growing the business that you've already seen and you're continue to grow? How did that play into it?
Yeah, great question. So I co-founded a company called True Local with a buddy, and through the 5 years, we grew from 0 employees, just 2 of us, to over 70 at the peak, and across Canada. So when we got out of that, we I had a decision to make. Do I go and start another business, or do I join forces with Shawna here? And based on where we were at in our life, we were considering having a family or starting a family. And at that point, when you start thinking about being a dad, you start thinking about what kind of dad you want to be. And are you going to be a present dad or someone that's on the road? Or are you going to be busy doing other things? And to be honest, I chose that I wanted to be a dad that's going to be around for the events, right? So to do that, I felt like, joining the business was a great idea. But at the end of the day, as a business person, my mindset, just like I would say most entrepreneurs, is you meet somebody that's in a business and you try to almost reverse engineer their business just by meeting them, right? Because that's the way you think. So when I looked at the cosmetic injections industry and how amazingly happy clients are to kind of leave after a treatment that they've enjoyed, that they loved, and they know they're going to love the results on, I was blown away by kind of just what kind of business Shawna had started. Now, don't get me wrong, the business side wasn't being attended to super well because Shawna was the person making things happen in the business instead of working on the business.
Well, and you don't learn business in nursing school.
No.
It's not a thing.
Well, and there are very few. I mean, anytime you're growing a business, you have to quickly discover what the indispensable part that you do.
Yeah.
And it's probably not doing payroll and HR and CRA and, all of those things. And much in the same way that, if you're not doing that, somebody's got to do it. You need someone who's got that expertise.
I was flying by the seat of my pants. There was zero structure before Greg entered the business. And you can't grow a team with no structure.
Yes.
The Behind the Business podcast is made possible through the support of our title sponsor, Gore Mutual. Proudly Canadian, Gore Mutual has stayed true to one purpose for more than 185 years, insurance that does good. It's the reason they exist. They believe that when we focus on being good, doing good, and spreading good, we all thrive together. We're grateful for their continued commitment to our local communities and the positive impact they make every day. For more information, visit goremutual.ca. So, I mean, I guess the husband-wife team that presents. I mean, we have lots of businesses in the chamber, and you hear this all the time. Family-run businesses have their own unique set of challenges because it's. I mean, in some ways, you never turn off.
It's consuming.
It is. But the opportunities that a family-run business can unlock are also, and you've touched on those, like working together, being able to have at least some balance, or know as you start a family, it is important, and you can run your business to reflect that. What challenges come with the dynamic, though? I mean, or how has it worked so far in terms of, working together? Because it's 24/7. Like you're working together, and then you don't turn off. You go downstairs and start folding laundry and taking care of kids and doing all the other parts of life. How has that worked out for you so far?
Oh, where do we start? When I reflect back, around the same time Greg and I got together was shortly around the same time that I started the business and I started into this. So it's almost been part of our relationship from the very beginning. And I remember somebody saying the other day, not a lot of husbands and wives can really work together. And it's not like we ever had a conversation where we sat down and said, can we do this? Can we not? Is this going to work? it truly just flowed into it. And I think it also comes down to the timing of it all when I was going off to have a baby and he was transitioning from his other job. And it just, and I think too, because it's part of my conversation all the time that every night at dinner, we're talking about work, that it just kind of bled into it. And I don't know. It flowed. It was never, there was never any other option. It's just, here we are.
To say it bluntly, it came with its challenges.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I mean, you know what? I mean, part of this is, we haven't specifically talked about COVID, but it's right at the start of when you're doing it is, lots of businesses had no option. I mean, you were either working at home and figuring out, where you have your workspaces. If you're working in traditional business, where do you go for your 8 hours? Because you got to have your own space. So lots of people had to deal with that. So I'm sure it had challenges, but what was the part where you kind of said, like, you can't talk about business all the time? How did you is there any hard things to say, hey, look, we're not going to talk about it on Saturdays? Or like, how did you try and not have that line always be blurred? Or is it always blurred?
Greg can talk about it.
It's blurred.
Time.
It's blurred all the time.
Yeah.
For me
blurred.
specifically, right? I'm never the one that says, let's turn it off. I'm always the one that's
thinking of what's next.
Saying what's next. And because
Excited.
although we do work together in the same office, she's seeing clients. So I'm not in a room with her going, let's plan some things for the next iteration of Subtly You.
Fair.
I'm thinking about it and I'm getting...
So you want to spit it out when you get her in front of you.
I get 30 minutes at night where I'm like, I got to get this off my chest. And she's just like, I just turned it off. And I go, well, I can't turn it off. So there's been those challenges for sure. We try to keep date nights to a minimum of talking about work. But, now that we've been able to grow the team, we have a few other people helping us along the way. So we're not taking all the credit for everything we do at this point. So it's gone a little bit easier for us to kind of, and the biggest thing was moving the business out of the house. So we moved out of the house, because when we initially had our baby 19 months ago, we were still in the house. So Shawna's upstairs nursing. I'm running upstairs and downstairs, being a dad and being, hopefully a decently good business owner to the staff that she brought on. And it was a blurred line there for a while because all I wanted in the back of my head was for Shawna to have this amazing mat leave. Yeah. And of course, you can't do that when there's people in your house till 8 o'clock at night. Yeah. And some of the amazing injectors that we have on board still had questions, like things that they just needed clarification on, that kind of stuff. So she never got a really great first mat leave. Now we're out of the house. I'm very happy that we're able to kind of leave, and I shut her off from the second I leave till 7 p.m.
Well, at least it's something. You've been involved in other entrepreneurial ventures, but particularly some local franchising, and you talked a little bit about that. So as you draw on your past ventures, in franchising in particular, what are some of the frameworks or the insights that you've been able to take to kind of future-proof your business? Because, I mean, everyone's got challenges. I mean, trade and tariffs is one thing for some types of businesses, but the uncertainty of it's a soft economy now for lots of reasons. Interest rates are high. You go through the list. How have you kind of taken all the things you've to sort of future-proof what you're currently doing now?
You know what? This has been maybe the biggest topic of conversation in my life recently, because although a lot of things you just mentioned there play a little bit of a role in it, I think AI plays the biggest role in the future of any single business on the planet. And the likelihood of whether your client in the future has a job, right? Mm-hmm. Because AI is doing a bit of a takeover. Yep. So I could go on for this all day, but future-proofing the business, I think Subtly You specifically is in a good place because I don't think we're in a place anytime too soon where people are going to be comfortable with a robot putting a needle in your face. Yep. There is a human element to what we do. I would say most of the injectors and people that we have that are client-facing, if you ask them if they're a therapist, they would say yes to their clients because they talk about everything in the room there while they're in there. So there is that very close client injector relationship that's kind of like a bonding over time, and that's why we see a lot of our clients truly stay with us outside of the fact that obviously we do great treatments. But that's been the biggest thing on my mind, is how we can get prepared for maybe a world that isn't as certain as anybody knows it's going to be, but hopefully we can get on the right side of it.
Risks and opportunities in that, but clients that can pay for the personal care, like the personal touch, is going to be important. Listen, Shawna, it is medical aesthetics. There's safety issues. There's new technology. I imagine you talk about AI, but actually in the technology of how you're doing injections, how you're, improvements in process, and whether it's actual injection materials themselves. What are the emerging trends and innovations, and how do you keep on top of those, and what excites you about where the industry is going?
It never ends. In this industry, it's always evolving. It's always, there's new technology, new trends, new safety protocols, new everything. And honestly, it comes down to taking advantage of every training opportunity that we get, every conference, every webinar, every everything. And
are you licensed is this a separate licensing, or is it through nursing, or how do you?
Actually, not a separate license at all. So you're a nurse or a doctor in order to
do it.
Botox is a medication.
Yeah.
It's a medication that we are injecting inside of a body, and we do wellness shots and we do all of that fun stuff. But at the end of the day, it is a medication. So it's regulated by
the nursing,
by the College of Nurses,
or
physicians, or whatever your title may be. But the trends and the evolution of everything, it's always training, it's always changing, and it's always staying on top of it. And the word trends, I don't like as Subtly You. We are very natural. We're very not an overdone. We don't like to. We have a certain style, let's just say, and I don't like to jump on every trend, every bandwagon that you see. I like to keep things almost like stick to the basics. Let's not go crazy. I mean, yes, there's always going to be trends and new things that people like, but it's actually nice. We're actually in an era of people liking to keep a more natural look and whatnot. But the trends and whatnot, yeah, we could jump on absolutely everything. I think the technology that comes out is advancing, and new opportunities arise there, which is exciting. And it's always like, okay, but which technology do we jump on?
Yeah,
and how do you know what's right and what's wrong? And
customers.
It never ends.
It never ends, and customers will always be reading and saying, "Oh, what's the latest, and why are you or not doing it?" And you got to be the expert that says, "Here's why."
Ready to explain yourself.
Now the business has grown over the last 5+ years. Maybe from both your perspectives, is what would be advice? I mean, if someone's watching this saying, "Hey, I want to start my business," or "I've just started a business," and they kind of say, well, 5 years on, you've grown working out of your home, you've got your own retail or space, you're working together, you've grown the business, you've hired staff. I mean, those are some of those are big steps that every business that's in startup to where you are. What would be the advice you'd give to an entrepreneur that was, whether it's in this space or any other? What would be some advice you'd give them?
Oh, Greg, what do you think?
Yeah.
You live, you eat, you breathe, you sleep it. You're devoted.
There's no substitute for that, is there?
No.
There really
I'd say
isn't.
find the person in your field that's dominating and copy them. Like, not copy them, but learn from them. Try to get as close to them as possible so you can learn from them. Read a lot of books in your field. Understand every role in the business, because you're going to do it first before anybody else does it for you. And make sure that you just understand. Like, I've learned one major thing throughout business that I just stick to it, is that everything that good that happens for your business is because of you, and everything that bad that happens in your business is because of you.
Yeah.
And as long as you take ownership for everything, then you have nobody to blame, and you can usually push forward pretty well.
Okay, we're kind of coming to the end of this portion of the podcast, but what are the things that are upcoming, big goals, or that most excite you about what's next in the coming year or two for Subtly You?
This is Greg's department.
No, this is okay.
Well, first of all, we're expecting our second right now.
Oh, wow.
So we're actually
Congratulations.
Round 2.
yeah. Come March, we're expecting to hopefully give Shawna a better mat leave than the first one. But some of my goals is for the business with Shawna is to look at new clinic opportunities in different cities. I think we have an amazing story to share, and we, like I said, we come at the injecting business maybe a little bit differently than other clinics do. We very much are a customer service business first, and a results business on top of that. But we want to make sure that everybody that walks through the door gets treated extremely well. And truly, if they were to ever think about going to another clinic, which anybody has that opportunity to, it'd be like, why?
Yeah.
Why would you do that? And that's truly what I think about every single day is the client journey and how their experiences in our clinics. And I want to be able to bring that to new cities because I think, in the 5 years we've been able to accumulate over 770 5-star reviews. So
that's great.
people are really liking kind of like the secret sauce we're laying down, and I want to keep bringing that to new places.
All right, now, and it's great to hear the story of your business and your personal story. But as much as anything, I always ask the same set of questions because it's really as much about anything about leadership and how people kind of perceive their own or their own journey and the things that how they articulate what their journey is to others. So when I ask these questions, it's the same set of questions. I think both of you can answer. So
Sure. I'll let you go first.
If you would be able to go back and tell your younger self something, what would it be?
Nothing, because I wouldn't listen to it.
That's probably true.
Pretty funny.
Yeah.
I would say that if the path you're on is hard, you're on the right path.
Who or what inspires you most?
Ooh, who inspires me most? Do you want to know who I think about most? Is my team. The team of kick-ass women that we have. They all bring a different element. They all bring a different energy. They all bring a different light. And truly, they all inspire me to be a better version of myself for them, for the business, and for myself.
Big?
I don't think I've ever changed this answer. It is always my dad. He's a self-made farmer himself. He started his own farm back as he was having kids, and didn't graduate grade 9, and maybe one of the hardest working guys I know. And I think being able to grow up around that has taught me a lot of the characteristics needed to kind of push through the hard moments in business, because there's way more of them than good times usually, especially in the beginning. And it's always nice to be able to give them a call, both my parents actually, and just let them know how I'm personally doing with the struggles and the good times, because they've gone through them just as I have.
Well, that is a unique growing up background, because there is no substitute for hard work. When the only thing is hard work is the only thing that ever gets done, particularly on a farm,
especially dairy farming.
Yeah,
you gotta milk.
You gotta milk it. The cows want to be milked, and yeah, absolutely. If you weren't in your current career, what do you think you'd be doing instead? Would you still be nursing, or would you do something else?
No, I would be a professional singer.
Wow.
This is true.
I would love it. That is something. I did say earlier that there's nothing else I would do in this world. No, I would be a singer.
You know
I'd
what?
get up on stage.
Let's go and do karaoke. I would
100%.
love that. I don't have a good voice, but I would love to do that too.
What would I do? Honestly, I'm sure my answer would have changed before kids, but I'm really happy being a dad at the moment and enjoying seeing our little one grow up. It's a little boring in the first 6 months because it's not much going on, but ever since she started getting up, walking around, starting to talk with us, it's been something new every day that I get to look forward to. So
let me tell you, the 23-year-old and the 19-year-old version is wonderful, but I miss when they couldn't move and you could watch the Buffalo Bills with them sleeping. This is what I enjoy every
And I'm
chunk
trying.
of that along the way because it's a great journey.
We're doing our best.
Okay, what are you reading? A book, listening to a podcast? What are you doing to kind of keep yourself kind of thinking about other things?
All we usually do, I'll speak for myself, is listen to self-development podcasts and audiobooks, and sometimes you got to take a break from that and listen to some crime documentaries every once in a while. But what do you listen?
I've been, like
Greg
I
is
mentioned
heavy on
earlier,
this.
just so much AI stuff
Yeah.
about, just listening to the experts on where they see the industry going and how they see it potentially taking over certain industries. And I'm super happy that we get to use this device today in today's way that we're using it, but it's evolving faster than we are at this point. So I try not to be naive about where it's going, because you're either going to be caught on one side or the other, and I'd rather be caught on a side at least of where I have a little bit more control. So.
I'm more like you. I geek out on political podcasts so that I can, because it gets too complicated when I do those things. What's your favorite local business here in Waterloo region? Where you coffee shop, restaurant?
We go out for dinners a decent amount. We enjoy a nice sit-down meal. I would say, where do we go frequently? We got Trio.
Oh, that's nice.
We like our Trio, Famosas.
Nice.
We eat a lot of sandwiches at Quick Sandwich.
I was gonna say I'm gonna drop a quick plug for Quick Sandwich. It's
close, local,
right beside us, and
go to.
In 6 months, I think I've eaten there 5 days a week, every day.
You gotta go.
Gotten to know the community quite well, and we're happy to be a part of it.
All right. For anyone listening or watching, what's the best way to connect with you and learn more about your work in Subtly You?
Yeah, you can find us online at subtlyu.ca, at Subtly You on Instagram, or we are located at 95 King Street South in Uptown Waterloo.
It's a King Street address, or is it Willow
King Street? Yeah, we're on the King Street side.
But find us when you come in for your free consultation.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's sit down. Let's have a chit-chat.
I'm getting old before your very eyes, so I might need some of that too.
You're invited in. We want to give you the tour if you're ever in town. And like I said, it's been awesome to be a part of like the Uptown business community. I think there's a really great future for the businesses around there. They all work really hard.
Well, I'm going right from this meeting to meet with JS, who's the
executive
director. He's a great guy, and I was on the BIA board when I was on city council for 7 years. So
the BIA has been fantastic.
It's a great. That's where I grew up, and as a kid, and watching all the evolution and all the neat places like Subtly You in Uptown is amazing. Listen. Thank you for spending so much time with us today. It's a very valuable commodity, and we appreciate the two of you making time out of your busy schedule to share your story and come onto the podcast. Appreciate it.
This is fun.
Thanks for inviting us.
This is great.
We love to tell it.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Behind the Business, proudly presented by Gore Mutual, insurance that does good. New episodes drop every Thursday, so be sure to tune in next week. You can also visit greaterkwchamber.com to catch up on past episodes anytime. We'll see you next time as we continue to go behind the business.